Hello again, YouTube. LASIK, Lakes Stars and Collectibles here. Got back from Nationals. I guess it would have been very early Monday morning because I drove to Chicago, and it's like an 8-hour drive for me, so it ended up flying. Plus, I was bringing my wife and children, and 4 plane tickets, which more expensive than the hotel, all the gas, and everything else. So. And the money I spent at the show. So we just drove. Not a big deal. I can drive. I'm a driver. I can sit 8-10 hours, no problem, and do it all myself. But anyways, beside the point. Anyways, went to Nationals. Got in, Thursday evening. Actually, Thursday at like 3. Couldn't check into the hotel because the rooms weren't ready. So I had to wait a couple hours in the hotel to get a room. Then I ended up meeting some of the YouTube community out. I don't know, Football Card Quest, Andy. Some other guys that are in Discord, and Carter the Power, Steve Caladesi, Filthy Collector. Just trying to remember everybody. I don't want to forget anybody. If I do, I apologize. It's great to meet everybody. Yeah, we all went out Thursday night in the Rosemont area. And there's an area down there that has like a big old AstroTurf field, a bunch of restaurants, surrounding restaurants and bars surrounding it. They had live music, really cool. It was just a little hot and muggy, but it's cool, good experience. Ended up having maybe one or two mini margaritas, so I ended up going to the Nationals on Friday because being a little older gentleman, it took me a little bit more time to recover than some of the younger lads. So I only wanted to. I should have went Friday instead of Saturday, but I ended up going Saturday. I should have went Friday as well. I don't know. It is what it is. I think I missed out on a lot of Justin Fields cards are not going on Friday. But like the whole experience of being there on Saturday, the place was massive. I didn't cover everything. I pretty much, when I first got there, I was there for like an hour and a half or so before I met up with some of the other YouTube guys that I do know, and some people from the Discord channel, from Andy, the Fantasy Card Quest Discord channel. So I just tried to make a quick lap to see what was there. And I thought I took a lap and saw everything. Well, it's broken up into 3 areas. But you can get to all the areas based on just making one big circle of the building, but you can also go out in the main lobby area and cut across and get to the other 2 areas. I was all Fanatic stand. I saw pretty much everything I could. Like the first 2 or 3 hours there, you couldn't even hardly get to a table to look at anything. Definitely weren't going through any value boxes without just having so many people there. It was overwhelming to a certain extent. I did, as we got away from the main entrance where they funneled you in, which is kind of weird where you came in because you didn't come in at the main entrance. You were dropped off into pretty much the back end of the whole place, at like aisle 32 or 3300. I can't remember exactly which one it was. But once I actually got to start able to look at tables, so much vintage there. I'm not a vintage guy. I get it. Vintage cards guys don't break their legs. They don't get injured out for the season. But there's still stuff modern stuff, like I got some Calvin Johnson, Barry Sanders. Those guys don't pull hammies anymore either. But there's so much vintage. It was vintage overload, and that's not what I was there for. My whole goal there was I brought all my PSA 10 Justin Fields that I could. I bought stuff I thought I could move. I was really hoping to. I got a lot of those Justin Fields there in that like $200 to $400 to $500 range in the PSA range. I was hoping to maybe buy a $1,500, $2,000 Justin Fields, do half trade, half cash. That was pretty much what I was trying to do there. Upgrade my collection, thin it out. There are some of those other cards. I don't care what the price of some of the Justin Field cards. I just really like the way they look, like the graffiti, certified graffiti rookie card. Really, really cool looking cards. But that was my goal. Well, I basically saw maybe 4 or 5 Justin Fields cards, and I looked at hundreds of tables. They were all gone for the most part. I'm assuming people came in there and swept them up on Friday and early Saturday. So I didn't really get to do that. I did go to one of the trade nights after Saturday night show. So did make a couple pickups because of that. And it's a little easier to get to the tables. Not nearly as many people. Those people that were there weren't necessarily the dealers. They were just people there that were trying to sell their cards or trade upgrade. It wasn't going to the dealers' tables. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I haggled with a couple of the guys. The wax prices were out of control, way high. I get it. You're supposed to haggle with them, but I don't have to haggle with every table I go to. And I mean, I was looking at some of the stuff where I can get in my local area for my local shops compared to those shops. There was, 20, 25, 30% discrepancy on some of the stuff. And, I totally get it. They're at Nationals. They're just praying people are going to come up there and buy it at the price. Or, I mean, I don't want to have to haggle every table I went to. And that was kind of like my biggest issue with it. I just felt like I was going to go buy a used car. And it was just, everything was buying a used car. And I totally get it. I'm sure someone's in the comments will say, well, they need to make as much money as they can. But I get it. But I also don't need to get screwed in the process. I mean, there was a couple cars that I wanted, but I just wasn't going to pay the price. I mean, I'm not going to give any, I don't call anybody out there, anybody there. But, man, it was just, I didn't end up buying one car from one table just because I basically went up there and saw the car, and I told him I'd give him $150, and I said, that's my price. I'm not here to haggle. And the guy looked at me for a second and said, okay, $150. And I was like, cool. And this was after 7 hours of already being there. The day was winding down. I couldn't find a Justin Fields. I did find a nice Justin Fields dual auto Spectra, SGC 8.5, 8.5, 10 autos of Mac Jones and Justin Fields. But I don't want Mac Jones on my cards. The guy wanted $650 for it. And I didn't want SGC 8.5 either. If that had been SGC 9 or a PSA 9 or a Beckett 9, I would have probably been. But I don't want Mac Jones on my cards. If I don't have my favorite player, I don't want to look at Mac Jones' face. So I didn't end up buying it. There was a Justin Hurts, the one of the guys I was with is a Philly fan. So I just basically let him, I wasn't going to sit there and try to. So I told him if he wasn't going to buy it, I was going to buy it. And I didn't want, he bought it, so I didn't have to worry about it. But then the guy wanted us to get into a bidding war over it, and the guy didn't realize that we were together. So, and I was like, I'm not bidding against him. I'm with him. So, whatever. But, man, as far as just the whole spectacle of the show, it was phenomenal. All the retailer stuff was cool. All the I'm not a big fan of WhatsApp, but I mean, or Whatnot. Sorry, not WhatsApp. Whatnot. I mean, but their area was pretty. It was sweet. The Fanatics area. So I should have got one of the Fanatics mystery boxes. I totally forgot about doing it. It's just walking around and standing all day after 7 hours. I guess I should have wore better shoes. My knees were hurting. I was like, I just wanted to get out of there. We went and had some dinner after the show. Then we went over to the trade night, and that's when I actually bought a couple cars. I should have bought the Bo Bichette that I was looking at too. The guy was going to sell me the PSA 10 negative for $190. I mean, the last one I just saw sold for low 200s. Should have bought it, but I do have an HGA 9.5 of Bo Bichette in that negative, tops negative rookie card, and I'm just going to crack it and send it in and try my luck. So, but I mean, that's pretty much about it. I mean, I didn't really see too many of the sites. I had a buddy up there. I went to go eat at his restaurant in Lamont, which is a Barrel and Vines, the name of the restaurant. Excellent food, excellent service, good, nice little low-key place in Lamont, which is about 15,000 people, and is about 35 minutes away from Rosemont, the area I stayed in. Really nice place. So, yeah, that's pretty much about it. I mean, I don't really know much more to say. I knew what I was getting into, because it's no different than going to my local shows here or my LCS. Whenever it comes, I don't try to sell cars in my LCS, and if I'm going to buy from them, I just give them a price and tell them, because I don't want to. I'm not after haggling with one or two people. I don't want to haggle with 50 people to try to make deals. It's exhausting. I don't want to say all of them are there to take advantage of you, but I've been doing this for a while. I say I'm definitely no professional, but I don't have a problem buying cards at comps or maybe just a little bit over. But when the guy is selling a car that's worth $75 or $150 and he wants to still sell it for $115 or $120, you're just getting straight. You're getting, lack of a better word, you're getting bent over, period. And I was like, I wasn't dealing with that. I was just like, done. But anyways, let's just get into the 3 cards I bought. I'm going to try to keep this, I'm not going to get too much further into this, but I mean, if you ever get a chance to go national, the spectacle itself is awesome. I met a lot of awesome people. It's just a cool thing to experience. I mean, it's all about this business is all about branching out. In fact, till up to 2 weeks ago, I didn't make my videos child friendly, I guess. I didn't, because I swear every once in a while I don't need some kid, listen to me drop an F-bomb or something like that. So I'm trying to really curve back the cursing so I can expand a little bit. I mean, but the whole networking part of that show was the cool part, meeting people. We all kind of knew somebody from somewhere and all kind of got to, expand our network and everything. I mean, that was, to me, that was my favorite part of the show. And just looking at all the cool cards, some of the old the old memorabilia set up by some of the auction houses was phenomenal. Looking at old Mickey Mantle jerseys. I mean, the guy pretty much wore it till it fell off of him. And instead of the guys these day and ages, New Jersey every, new stuff every game. Mickey Mantle's jersey looked like it got washed 6,000 times, and you would have found it at a garage sale. But it was just awesome to see, and it was, just being that close to that kind of memorabilia, it was worth that much. it was awesome. I mean, I could go on all day about it. And everybody who watches any of my videos know I could talk anybody's ear off. So just trying to think if I forgot anything. I mean, I definitely recommend experiencing it. Next time we'll bring less cards. Because it's really hard to sit there and wheel and deal with people when the tables are full, and it's all about. I mean, there's a couple of cards. There's a Jalen Hurts PSA 10 Chronicles Silver Prism Black that I should have just bought. I was looking at it. I was looking at comps. I was like, I wonder if I can get this guy to drop it. It's $20-$30. I would have bought it, but because I love the Chronicles Black 2020 rookies. That's one of the nicest cards out there. But I just don't really think I have anything else to add about the Nationals. I mean, it's just you got to go in there at the correct mindset. I mean, you could have moved. I think you could have moved more cards on Friday if you want to try to sell. But going to the trade nights, there was definitely opportunities to sell stuff and trade with people who weren't trying to gouge your eyes out. So that was a cool experience. I bought some. Oh yeah, I guess one of the things that these kids were selling dollar mystery packs, and I knew that I wasn't obviously going to get anything from it. But I bought 5 of them and made the kids night. He couldn't believe I was even going to buy one of them because they were wrapped in like paper. And I just bought 5 of them to buy them. I ended up actually pulling a Devontae Smith Prism base, which whatever, and a few Trevor Lawrence rookies from Chronicles. So I mean, it's just things like that. And one of the coolest things I saw was one of the kids he was wheeling at a table probably had $200,000 for the cards on the table, and the guy couldn't. I mean, he couldn't have been a day over 16. He might have been there with his dad, but I'm just, oh God, this kid is an entrepreneur at 16 with all these cards, and he had a beautiful downtown PSA 10 Black Justin Fields Pandora. That's like a Grail card. But I didn't want to speculate what that thing was worth. I didn't have enough money on there. Speaking of that, I did. Last thing I'm going to talk about the Nationals. I brought in $1,200 cash and probably about $5,000 worth of slabs. Most of that stuff was Justin Fields, and I was hoping to trade up. End up spending about half of what I brought. Not quite half. I don't think so. But I did spend some of the cash on something else. But anyways, enough of that. We're just going to get into the cards. We'll get into the first deal that I made here. This is the point where the day was over. It's like 4 something. I'd been there since I rolled up there right at 10 sharp. The dogs were barking. Knees were killing me. It was just time to go. This is a beautiful card. I mean, it's not his rookie. This is the Fire and Ice Justin Fields out of 50. I was comfortable paying what I did. I think I paid $140 for this card. $140 or $150. I can't remember. The last one raw sold for like $45. So I mean, this is a PC card. I mean, it looks beautiful, but I think if he pops off the first couple weeks, I'm just going to dump it. Probably, if he pops off, I'll probably list it for $220 and probably take $175 or $180 so I can just break even. Unless I like this card, I'm just not into buying second year cards. I'm all about the rookie cards, and that's it. I don't buy any cool parallels or low number cards from year 2. I mean, I just like rookies, and that's it. So, but it is a beautiful card. And I just walked up the table. One of the guys I was with pointed it out, and I just offered, I think it's a $150. I think it's sticker for $160. I can't remember what it was, $140 or $150. Well, either way, they took the offer. No haggling, bought it outright, no problem. This is the only card I bought at Nationals. I did try to go through some of the value boxes. The value boxes I got to, it was just crap, total crap by the time. The few I looked through was just stuff from like 10, 15 years ago. A lot of stuff from old Washington and old, guys don't play anymore, and then just a bunch of low-end junk. But I'm sure there were deals to be had in those boxes the first couple of days. But it's just like I said, so many people there, it's hard to even get to look through them. But anyways, that's the first card. Second card, after the show was over, they had a little trade night at the hotel. It was like not directly across the street, but I think it's low. I can't remember the name of it. It started with an L. I mean, this card, after I bought it, I was kind of mad at myself because, I mean, I don't even know how this is a 10. Quite honestly, you can tell the centering right now is probably 60-40 on the front. Maybe 55-45. Top to bottom looks pretty good. If you know anything about these variation cards, you know the centering on the back is just terrible. So I think they've pretty much let this go, because if you look at all the centering on these variations from this year, the centering on the back's horrible. You are very, very seldom going to find something that isn't 75-25 like this. I mean, I wanted one of these, and I got it at a good price. I offered the guy $180. He took it. These are, I mean, 2 to 220. Someone going 230. So I got a little room on it. I'm having a hard time with it because it isn't centered. I mean, I want a centered one on front. top, bottom, left to right. I'll probably end up dumping this if he pops off, and then probably just reinvesting in one that I actually want. I mean, I know some people might think that's stupid, but I really don't care. That's just my card. I want this thing to be centered. I won't even send in cards to PSA right now that look like this, centering wise. Because right off the bat, you got a 9 centering. I mean, you just can't, and you got everything else that's got to be perfect. And then in the back, I mean, I guess it's 75-25, so it makes the centering there as well. But I mean, beautiful card. I love this card. Love the orange jersey. Anything with an orange jersey, I'm Dame. The guy didn't haggle me. I said 180. It got done. Moved on. He did have a really nice Obsidian out of 10 Justin Fields rookie. He wanted 320 for it. It was raw. I looked at it. He goes, well, you know, I got another Justin Fields here. And I kind of peeled up because there was only a few Justin Fields there at all either. I let me look. I said, I asked him, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're spending any money on a raw card, and they don't let you look at it before you buy it out of the case, then you don't buy it. I don't know. You got to look at that, especially when you're spending a couple $100, $300, any card. I don't care if it's a $5 card. I mean, getting a bunch of dollar bins, I'm not going to worry about it. But he said, well, I asked him, I said, look at it. Well, can I take it out and look at it? I said, you can watch me. If I damage the card, I'll just buy it. And the guy's like, well, yeah, sure. But, you know, he goes, there's somebody else who's looking at that too. But, you know, he said there might be something wrong with the back. Front was clean, centered, flipped the card over. There was literally like a grease mark and like 30 of the faint print lines running across the bottom of the card. And I was like, well, here's your problem, buddy. I said, there's no way I'm buying this card. And he's like, oh, I didn't realize it. How do you not know that, man? He knew. He just didn't want anybody to look at it. He just wanted to be able to sell it and move on. So I was like, the same guy I bought this card from. I was like, man, you got to look at your cards, bro. There's something wrong with them. You got to tell people. But he kind of did, but he didn't. So that intake, you know, there's one other guy there that had the graffiti certified orange out of 249, or was it 199? The orange version of the graffiti card of Justin Fields. And he is stickered at 100. He goes, I looked at it, he goes, before I even got anything on my mouth, I said 80. I was happy with $75 to buy that card. And I asked him, hey, well, can I look at it before I look? He kind of looked at me and I said, well, I'm not buying the card unless I can look at the surface. I can kind of tell the edges look good, but I didn't even see if there's any print lines on this thing. So I popped it off, of course. There's print lines all over the thing. And he looked at me and I said, you realize there's print lines all over this card, right? If you're going to sell somebody a card, one of those little faint print lines, who cares? When there's like 20 of them, that's a problem. That's going to be a problem for the surface if you're trying to get it graded. I just wanted a card that didn't have a bunch of dings on it. And I was like, well, I handed it back to him. I was like, I can't buy it. As much as I want to buy it, I said, I can't. And I've been looking for one of those. I just can't. You can't find them on eBay. I just want to buy a PSA 10. Don't even worry about buying the raw version of it. But anyways, and we were there at that little trade night in the hotel for probably, I don't know, an hour and a half. They were only allowing 250 people in the room, so there was at least a 100-person line outside. So we were there, you know, a half dozen other people. So we're just gonna leave so other people can get in. Apparently, there was a little bit of drama there, I guess, with somebody might have stole a card the night before or that night. I don't know. The guy was yelling at everybody. Yeah, there's a possibility that was all gonna get shut down. So that calmed down, and we just left. So yeah. But anyway, so after that, the last thing is most of the guys that I knew were there were all staying at the same hotel, and we hadn't got to look at each other's cards, seeing if we're going to do a little trading. So we went back to their hotel, sat down in the lobby. There was 3 or 4 different sets of people in there. So we got to see there was some wheeling and dealing going on in there. So the last deal of the night was I did not know one of the guys I was with had this card and made the deal for this card. Otherwise, I'd have already tried to buy it from him. Or trade, whatever. But there was a younger gentleman in there that was trying to get rid of a Joe Burrow Leaf auto out of 9, I think. And then he ended up wheeling and dealing with a guy that I was there with. And so I told the kid, as soon as you buy that, I will buy this off you for $200. Last one of these raw sold for $70, so I felt pretty good about the, you know, $200 mark for a PSA 10. So the cool thing is, you know, like, so as soon as he knew he was getting $200 cash, he was in. The deal happened. I bought the card off the young gentleman, and now here we got a beautiful looking Chris Olave PSA 10 pink velocity. I think it's out of 79. I want to say, yeah, out of 79. So beautiful card. Last one they sold raw for $70. I'm okay with the $200. Not a lot of. I don't think there's a ton of growth available on this card. But it's a PC card. I mean, if he lights it up this year, and this card could be $350. You know, maybe dump it. Rebuy it again when the stuff cools down. But beautiful card. Love the Don Russ. Just there's super centering issues with these things, but you can kind of tell where I'm not sure if it's. I mean, up here it's supposed to be off center. We get it, but I think how you can tell with centering is with the nameplate right here, where it starts here and ends here. The centering is not terrible, but I think it might supposed to be centered. I don't know what's going on here. How they told on the centering on this car, but I've seen some that look way worse than this that have like zero border on the right hand side. But anyways, a beautiful card. I got it. I mean, I really would have liked to buy more cards. I mean, just the experience with the guys from the other channels, like the Fantasy Football Card Quest, which I'm in a couple of his videos. If anybody watches these, actually follows him, you'll see me in a couple of his videos from Nationals. You know, because we hung out. You know, we went to dinner a couple times and hung out, and then a couple other guys that are on his channel, like Carter the Power and Steve Caladesi, that does his Thursday night, and Carter does the what is today? So Tuesday, or is it Monday? I don't even know. Say Tuesday. Carter does the thing Tuesday afternoons with him. So, anyways, that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't have too much more to say about it. I said I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I just, you know, next time I'm not going to bring as many cards. I'm going to do a little better focusing job. I'm definitely going to go on Friday next time around so that I can do the wheeling and dealing on Friday. Just because I think, for the most part, anything I was looking for was already gone. But the trade nights, if you go down there and you end up and find out where the trade night is, that's, I think, to me, probably the best place to do the wheeling and dealing. That's just my personal opinion. I got to meet a lot of good people. Everybody was really cool at the trade night. No one was there trying to gouge anybody's eyes out. No used car salesman stuff. It's good times. But anyways, that's all I got to say about that. I said I got a bunch of... There was a person there, a vendor that was cracking cases and wasn't charging for me, just had to get in line, but I missed out on that. But I do have a bunch of cases I'm going to crack and resubmit, so might do a video about that. I said I still have the 2 PSA orders I'm going to send in here in the next week or two. Try to do a video on that. I'm going to get my hands on, I don't know if I want to get a Chronicles, couple, 2 or 3 mega boxes, or just go buy a hobby box. But I want to be able to get enough that I can start putting together some lower end lots on eBay, because I got a guy buys cards from me all the time who likes that stuff. So I like to hook him up with some deals, put a bunch of lots together, and just basically sell them for nothing, more or less, $5-10, whatever. But anyways, that's that. I got some more content coming out. The ripping videos are gonna slow down because retail's just trash. But I love me some Chronicles, so we're gonna get into that. But anyways, you can follow me on Instagram, and I will catch everybody in the next one. Late Stick out.